Someone in the back.
Come out.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands.
Police are in the middle of hunting down a wanted serial killer, living inside the very van where he killed his latest victim.
Go back over there. Oh, what's that? What's that smell?
24 hours before this confrontation, officers discover a brutalized body of a woman with seemingly no evidence left behind that could connect anyone to the case.
The victim is still unidentified, and we're taking a shot in the dark. Maybe you've seen her.
Everybody's seen him around, but nobody really knows him, as far as I know.
Yeah.
When I found out Michelle was dead, dog, and you can ask my boss man, it killed me.
But over the following day, small clues would start surfacing, revealing additional victims going as far back as 4 decades, eventually leading to one of the longest active serial killers in Florida's history.
There's the back piece. This is our van.
Steve, you made a mistake. I know.
I didn't do this. It's man.
Steve, come on now.
I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that there are bodies out there attached to him that either haven't been found or gone. This guy cannot be on the street. He has to go away or somebody else could get hurt.
It's around 2 p.m. in Marathon, Florida. Near Vaca Cut Bridge, families enjoy a quiet afternoon until, just off the side of the road, a fisherman notices a strong, overwhelming odor. As he steps closer, he sees something so gruesome, he immediately calls 911. Within moments, Florida officers arrive, and it wouldn't be long before the entire lake area would need to be evacuated.
Where's she at? $5112, rigor set in.
Jesus Christ.
On the ground lies an unidentified woman, unclothed and already beginning to stiffen. From what officers can tell, she's been here for several hours. The current near Vaca Cut Bridge is exceptionally strong, with a history of fatal accidental drownings. At first, officers believe this could be another one of those cases, but as they flip her over, that assumption would quickly fade.
We'll move her a little bit, and then Edie, if you want to take your pictures as we're rolling so that if there's anything that falls or moves, because what I'm looking at is this stick right here.
Okay. Need a hand?
It looks like she was dragged by this hand.
Oh, look at that.
Yep, did you see that?
Look at her around the neck.
Right around the neck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at the side of her head.
Yep.
What do you see?
You got blood, you got scrapes all over the back.
Alright, I'm calling,
Call Doc.
As they examine the body closer, they notice strangulation marks on her neck, blood, and signs of trauma, all pointing to a violent assault. With a potential homicide on their hands, officers call in the on-duty detective, while others begin evacuating the area immediately. Before the detective arrives, officers at the scene continue trying to identify the victim, only to realize it won't be that simple.
Anybody recognize her? You know who she is?
Mm-mm. Nope. Doesn't appear to be a homeless because she's well kept. She's groomed. I just don't see the clothes. You know what I'm saying? It's too something there.
This is all the officers know about the woman. No clothing, no ID, nothing to go off of. But not for long, as the on-duty detective soon arrives. Matt Pitcher is a seasoned undercover detective. He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to take down the town's most dangerous killer. Using a multi-hour interview with Pitcher, we'll break down exactly what he was thinking and the complex forensic methods used to crack a near-perfect homicide.
I do not have good luck at Thanksgiving time. It just never seemed to work out for me. And so even coming into this, everybody was kind of joking, oh, be prepared for that call. And so I got the call, and then it's kind of evaluating, well, you know, you put out a little bit of hope that, well, maybe it was just a natural death. And I still remember, I was talking to my captain, trying to figure out what's going on. She said, yeah, it's a naked female. And the minute she said that, I was like, well, this isn't going to be a natural death.
Everyone. Detective Matt Pitcher and Detective Rosa DiGiovanni. This is US 1 headed up that way. Entrance into this little gravel area from US 1 is down there. If you pan down here, at the start of what looks to be a Red Bull can, there are tire tracks leading back, as well as tire tracks on this side. And you have a broken branch that's touching the ground. Pulled hair right here. And if you come up at about 10 o'clock into a wooded area, about 10 meters away, the female victim, 2 to 3 feet in front of that is another small chunk of hair. It looks like there is some bleeding in the area of the easiest way to come back would be along there, suspecting that that's where the suspect went back. We're going to go around another way, preserve evidence.
For the first time, the pieces start to come together. As Pitcher walks along the gravel road just off the highway, he spots fresh tire marks, evidence the suspect had been here not long ago. A few feet away, strands of the victim's hair lie scattered, suggesting she was dragged from the road into the forest. Further in, there are clear signs of disturbance. Damaged plants, broken branches, indicating the suspect's vehicle was likely damaged as it sped away, possibly right after dumping the body. And then, something far more significant catches his eye.
So, there were a bunch of like small trees, that kind of thing. You have this dirt road, but then as I'm walking along the path, that's the first thing that struck me was, so there was a little tree, and it kind of had, how you can tell when something's freshly broken, right? The limb hasn't died or anything like that when you're talking about a tree, and it was just kind of hanging there. And so that got me looking at it, and then sure enough, what looked to be car parts broken off right underneath it, like sitting on the ground right there. And that's kind of one of those ones like, could this be, the suspect vehicle?
But even with this small breakthrough, Pitcher still hasn't uncovered the most critical piece of the puzzle, one that suggests this is far from an isolated incident. With the scene locked down and the victim transported for autopsy, investigators are left with two critical questions. Who is the victim and who is her attacker? To answer the first, Detective Pitcher comes up with a plan.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through things, and basically my thought then, especially keep in mind, like I said earlier, this is right coming into Thanksgiving, right? Everything is about to get slammed where we live. This is a huge tourist spot. So I was concerned that, okay, we could lose video evidence that might be in the area. Talked to my captain, and I showed the captain too, the car part and all that, and I said, all right, I'm leaving the scene, and I'm about to start hitting every business, starting with the bars in the area, and at least get them marked so that they don't get rid of evidence on us.
At Pitcher's request, officers go from business to business, searching for any sign of the suspect's vehicle. One missing a black 3x8-inch piece of bumper and showing damage consistent with hitting branches, as well as any indication of a possible daylight abduction. But with no clear timeline for when the murder occurred, the search could take anywhere from hours to days. So Pitcher splits his efforts, directing some officers to focus on the second piece of the puzzle, identifying the victim. He sends them to local businesses, hoping that someone might recognize her. But that's when an unexpected problem emerges.
Hey, sir, I'm Detective Brady. This is Detective Bunce. We're part of the homicide investigations going on. I don't know if you've heard what's going on in the marathon. Yeah. And we don't know whether the victim is still unidentified, and we're taking a shot in the dark, and maybe if she might have been a patron here. So if it's a graphic photo, but we're going to ask if you have seen her or a couple of bartenders.
I'll take a look.
So,
I've been here the last few nights.
Okay.
Since Wednesday, so.
Okay.
There's a picture. I haven't seen anybody like that, no.
Okay, do you think you're maybe a bartender or so would,
They, probably wouldn't want to, knowing they're a bit on the skittish side.
With the victim still unidentified and no sign of the suspect's vehicle, officers are at a loss. With every passing hour, the killer edges closer to vanishing for good, along with any chance of solving the case. But just as leads begin to run dry, one bartender would step forward, giving them their first major lead.
How you doing, Chris?
Hey, how are you?
We're gonna...
I just got your phone number.
917.
And are you willing to look at the photo of the victim and see if you might know her, or it's pretty? It's up to you. Yeah. Okay. All right. There's this lady here. You might be able to recognize her.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know her name?
Oh.
Or perhaps does she drive a car? Or she live anything where we can try and track down. We don't know who she is, so it's very important. We're trying to find out who she is.
I can't think of it.
Okay. But for sure.
Yes, I know exactly who she is.
Okay.
Definitely.
Although the bartender doesn't remember the woman's name, she recalls seeing her multiple times, suggesting she's likely local. And then another bartender approaches. She recognizes the victim too, but still can't provide a name. However, she remembers something else. She had seen the woman working at the Sunset Grill restaurant just a few miles away. With this new information, officers quickly wrap up and rush to the restaurant, realizing they may be moments away from answering one of the case's biggest questions.
How are you?
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Detective Rosa DiGiovanni. The reason that I'm asking is, has she ever worked for you?
Oh, she looks familiar. Yes, yes.
She did?
Yes, and I tried to help her. I know.
What do you mean you tried to help her?
Well, when she first moved here, she worked for us, and
you know when that was, more or less?
I have all the dates at
that would be
house.
Great.
And I feel so bad about what happened to her because I really.
Finally, officers have a name, 51-year-old Michelle. But when detectives check for a missing persons report, they find nothing, leading them to assume the victim has no close family. That is, until her employer reveals something that makes her death even more tragic.
She told me, she was from, is it Wisconsin or Wisconsin? I have all her info where she was from, I think. And she had a family. I knew she had children. And, ex-husband, she didn't have custody of her children. But she told me she used to be like a therapist, too. And she goes, I know better. I shouldn't be taking these pills and stuff. And I said, well, you need to get straightened up because I'm going to have to let you go. But she did talk always. I don't know her children. I never met her, but she always talked about them. I don't know how old they were. She always talked about going back. I know our children must be devastated. If you talk to her kids or anything, just tell them that, she was a wonder. She had a good heart. She did.
That's basically what we're trying to get for her kids,
She did. And I always thought that too. I thought, God, I wish her kids knew that I really liked her.
Thanks to her employer, officers are able to get into contact with several of Michelle's family members in Janesville, Wisconsin. All of them describe her the same way, kind, with a good heart, but after moving to Florida, she lost contact with them. This information is immediately relayed to Detective Pitcher, who now has one question left to answer. Who is her killer? And that answer may be closer than they think.
That time the captain says, all right, I'm going to send a picture of this car part to a buddy of mine who's in narcotics. He is extremely good with cars. She literally sends him this little bit of what turned out to be a bit of a fender. He comes back. First thing, he sends a text. All right, it's going to be from a van, full-size van like this. Within 15 minutes of that, he sends a picture and says it's going to be this type of van. That picture he sent actually ended up to even be the exact same color, everything as the van, as a suspect van, like to the T. But in my mind, I'm thinking, number one, 50% chance it's actually going to be the suspect vehicle. Being able to match that to vehicle, yeah, probably not going to happen.
Naturally, Detective Pitcher is skeptical, but he still relays this information to officers combing through CCTV footage. And to his complete surprise, after 6 hours of finding nothing of value, they're about to stumble upon something big.
I don't know how to download it from the system, but he's fixing to go past here in just a minute.
Need anything else from us?
No, bro. I'm just going to find this vehicle and then try to clip this. I found him. He's right here.
Office Max is a ripoff.
Right there.
At last, police spot what they believe to be the suspect's vehicle, a black and silver Dodge conversion van visibly damaged with pieces missing. And once they run its license plate, detectives can begin reconstructing the killer's movements piece by piece.
He's gonna go by, I'm sure. There he goes, right there. Yeah, 1207. He will let you, yeah. That's the van right there.
There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Alright, 1240. He had to stop somewhere.
12:39.
What we get from Alfredo's?
Alfredo's was 12:08:23. So that's 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 17 seconds.
You gotta stop somewhere quick.
4 minutes, 17 seconds. Get
He
caught.
wasn't sitting in traffic for 4 minutes. That's a big. That's a.
So where can he stop between Fredo's? Huh?
Trade ones?
Trade ones.
Or if he came in here?
As officers piece together the van's path across town, it suddenly disappears, somewhere near Kmart Plaza on US Highway 1, just over 3 miles from where the body was found. While officers search for additional camera angles around the last known location, investigators run the van's registration, and that's when they discover something deeply concerning. The van belongs to 58-year-old Stephen Matthew Wolf, a man with a long and serious criminal history.
Obviously, the one thing, I can't remember if it was a juvenile record that was sealed and they had to go a little bit further to find it out or whether they grabbed it, but he had a murder at a young age. So immediately I have someone getting on the phone for me and contacting that police department. Let's get details on this and fast. And it was this 90-year-old man that he and a couple of his friends robbed, and he decided to kill him. So the minute you find stuff like that out, you're like, all right, you're building those building blocks, right? You're like, okay, we're on the right path here. This is most likely our guy.
Decades earlier, in 1976, Wolf was convicted of a homicide in Boise, Idaho. At 15 years old, he and 3 others murdered a 78-year-old man named Enrico Flori, a robbery-motivated killing that landed him 15 years in prison. The case gained nationwide attention when, in 1977, Stephen escaped from the Ada County Jail, sawing through a bar on the 4th floor and climbing down using bed sheets and conduit. He remained on the run for 6 days before being recaptured. As Pitcher digs deeper, they uncover even more disturbing details. A prior diagnosis of psychopathy, a history of animal cruelty, and long-term drug use, raising the question of whether he should ever have been released. With these findings, Pitcher realizes he's looking for someone with a history of extreme violence, a proven capacity to evade justice, and potentially a serial killer. By midnight, the van still hasn't reappeared on CCTV, suggesting it's still somewhere near the cluster of fast food restaurants. Unwilling to waste any more time, Pitcher, alongside a dozen deputies from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, heads out to search the area. And as they begin to look for their suspect, something inexplicable happens.
When the captain and lieutenant were going out to scout in this parking lot, you're doing a lot of this just hoping and, looking for that needle in a haystack, but most likely, the person's going to bounce pretty quickly and get out of town. So while you're hoping, it's not great. And she's driving, keep in mind, on the opposite side of the road. So she had to see it from a long ways away. And according to my captain lieutenant said a prayer. And the minute she stopped the prayer, looked off to her left where there is a Kmart and a McDonald's, and sitting just right by the McDonald's was the van. And she starts yelling, there's the van, there's the van. Of course, they almost wrecked the car. But they get into a parking lot, sit tight for a second. I get over there, make contact, and go from there.
To Pitcher's surprise, they spot it. The black and silver van, parked between a Winn-Dixie and a McDonald's. Approaching from multiple directions, officers surround the parking lot, carefully ensuring no bystanders are in harm's way, with Pitcher meticulously guiding the operation. And as officers inch closer, they brace themselves, knowing a dangerous killer could lash out at any second.
Do we want me to give him verbal commands? Yeah, his window's down. Okay, Caleb, go. You gonna get this set up?
I got it. Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
Step in the back.
Monroe County Sheriff's Office, come up with your hands up.
Sheriff's Office, let me see your hands.
Let me see your hands.
All right. Go ahead, male. Come on out. Anybody else in the van with you?
Hands up.
Come on out. Come out driver's side. Here, just drop whatever you're doing. Come out. Come out.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Don't reach around. Don't reach around. Just let me see your hands.
Come out of the van. Go back towards the back of your van. Anybody else in the van?
No.
Any weapons?
Get a handcuff.
Get in. Get right here.
What's going on?
Sir, right there. There, right there.
Put your hands around your back.
What's up in here?
What's your last name?
Wolf.
Wolf?
Yeah.
Stephen Wolf.
Yeah.
What's
I
your
got my
birthday?
teeth. 92460.
92460?
Yeah.
Is
1960.
this vehicle registered to you?
Yes.
To the officer's surprise, Stephen doesn't resist. Instead, he's calm. Almost unusually so for someone being arrested without explanation. After placing him in a patrol car, officers begin inspecting his van when something immediately stands out.
Oh, come here. Wait, watch this. Look at this. Right here. What do you see? What do you see? Isn't that the piece? There's some branches. And he's gonna bend the back. Yeah. This is our murder suspect. Oh, yeah.
What's that? What's that smell?
This is him.
Okay.
It's him.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yep. Bomb's clear.
When they were going through the van, I believe there was blood in there that they have yet to identify, for one thing. There was, unfortunately, underwear in the van that appeared to be used. There was other women's underwear in there. So I 100% think that there are bodies out there attached to him that either haven't been found or gone. There's all these, little details that too many to overlook.
After securing the scene just after midnight, Stephen is transported to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for questioning. But despite Pitcher's plan unfolding nearly perfectly, he still has a long way to go. On the way to the station, Pitcher realizes that from a jury's perspective, there's still reasonable doubt, and nothing truly conclusive beyond a single piece of bumper. And with the right lawyer, he could claim he was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time, and the charges could easily be dismissed entirely. Even so, Detective Pitcher remains confident he can make Stephen break. Less than 12 hours after the murder is believed to have taken place, the two arrive at the station and Stephen is placed inside the interrogation room. Both Pitcher and Stephen have been in these situations before, and each of them believes they have the perfect plan to outsmart the other.
The way I interview, I'll brag for a second. I think I can interview pretty much better than anybody. And I think I have a track record to prove it. I believe your interview, the most crucial part of the interview are the first minute to 3 minutes. I never, ever walk into an interview room and start talking about that night, anything even remotely close to the crime at hand. I usually try to find out what they're into.
Alright, Steven. I'm recording. Right now you're just being detained, alright? I'm just gonna talk. But before I can talk to you, I've seen how you got this. If it's alright, I'll let you have this for a minute. Alright, well here's the deal. We have some questions about yesterday. Maybe you can walk me through it and help me out a little bit. Tell me about your day yesterday. Just walk me through the day if you would. Alright, I'm curious when we were talking at the police car for a second, I asked you to come here. You said something about vodka cup.
Yeah, I went in there today. I used to sleep. I was looking for a place to sleep. I used to go down there and sleep in that little circle in the back, but I couldn't get in there.
Not very good.
That's what the damage to my car was. That's when I did that.
That's when you did that?
Yeah.
What time was that?
I almost got stuck.
Yeah, that's never good. What time was that?
3:30ish, I guess. I don't know, this afternoon.
Okay.
It was all sandy, washed out, trees were overgrown. I said, I can get back. And I started back down the road. I said, shoot, trees, I like my man. And scratching it all up. I didn't even know I'd heard it until I got to the library and walked down. I said, God dang it, I broke the shroud. It was already cracked anyway.
Yeah. So would you try to back out and that's how you hit it?
Yeah, there wasn't no turning around. You can't, that thing turns like a boat. I couldn't turn around. I almost got stuck.
As Stephen calmly explains, he damaged the vehicle while turning around, searching for a place to sleep. But what catches Pitcher off guard is this. If Stephen is responsible, he's just placed himself at the scene of the crime for reasons Pitcher can't yet explain. So, Pitcher searches for something more concrete, something incriminating. But what he finds would come as a complete surprise.
Can I just get you to put your fingers out like this? One second. Thank you so much. Give me just 2 seconds. Oh. Again, if you could, just kind of the best you can. And this is gonna be a lot harder, but flip up to bit. Hey, that was a lot easier for you than I thought it would be.
What you looking for?
What's that?
So what you
Just any kind of marks. I'm not gonna show you no
I
scratches.
got no marks, no scratches, no nothing.
Good deal.
Tattoos, I got
What's your
tattoos.
name? I know you got tattoos. They're pretty good ones. Where'd you get them done?
I got them done in prison, Idaho.
Idaho?
I had a bad. I was 15 years old and got in trouble. I got a homicide.
Oh, that's no fun. How long did you have to lay down for?
15 and a half years.
15 and a half years? Oh, wow.
It's a long, sad story with a happy ending, but.
Well, you're out now.
I left that idiot in there. I brought out a drug addict, but kick that too.
Well, can you give us 1 second? I just want to talk to my partner for a
You can do
second.
whatever you need to do. Just let's get this done. Whatever we're doing here.
I appreciate it.
Just be quiet.
I am.
Baffled by the lack of scratches on Stephen's hands, Pitcher pauses the interrogation, fully realizing the evidence they have so far is insufficient for any breakthrough, especially after learning this is far from his first run-in with police. For now, there simply isn't enough to charge him, so Stephen remains in holding. Investigators know time is against them. By tomorrow, they need something concrete because without it, they won't be able to hold him much longer. But little do they know, Stephen is already preparing a strategy for their next conversation, one he believes will let him walk away completely free. The next morning, with Stephen still in custody, Detective Pitcher begins receiving tips from multiple Marathon residents, each claiming to have vital information. By approximately 10 a.m., officers are dispatched to follow up on every lead, hoping one of them holds the key to the case. And it wouldn't take long for police to realize Michelle may not have been the only target, and Stephen may not have been the only suspect.
Okay. My name is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
How are you?
Good.
Okay. I have a cousin.
There, man.
How you doing?
All right.
Good.
We have a little bit
Nice
of
to meet you.
information that you might be interested in.
Okay.
Okay. I have a cousin of mine that I just found out today was with the male, I guess, who
He was in the van.
he was in the
that
van.
night.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, how you doing,
Hey.
So what happened today was, I went to the house, I saw Frankie and everybody there, and I said, hey, you got you the Frankie goes, yeah, he goes, I was in his car the day before, gave me a ride to, I guess, down the store or something like that. I said, wait a minute. I said, Frankie gave you a ride? I said, you were in that van? He goes, yeah. I said, because your fingerprints are probably in that van, Frankie. And I said, if you don't go talk to somebody.
They found a fingerprint.
Exactly. And that's not going to look good for you.
Afraid of being implicated, locals begin coming forward, bringing new information about Stephen. They reveal he wasn't alone the night before the murder. Just hours before the woman was killed, he had been driving around town with 2 other people in his van, and one of them is about to show up to speak to the detective.
Hey, Tracy.
How are you?
Good. I'm sorry.
Everybody knows me here.
Yeah.
Except the rookies, of course.
Well, I don't know you. So you were in the van with Frankie and...
Yep, he come up to the library. I asked him if he would take us to go to the store so we could get something to drink.
Okay.
Is what the hell was said. I've known him for a little while now.
Oh, okay.
I never thought that he would do some off the wall, excuse my language, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I am shocked. I am floored. All right, to be honest with you.
Right.
What if this happens to me? It
Yeah, we don't want it to
been.
happen to anybody. And that's
All right.
why I want everybody to come together and we can
Well,
get
like I told one of the deputies that knew me, I said, listen, I'm fixing to either sleep over here at the library or else I'm going to sleep on y'all's doorstep over here.
Thanks to Tracy, officers are now able to piece together Stephen's movements leading up to the murder. But before the detective leaves, Tracy would go on to mention one more name. Terry, a close associate of Stephen. Officers immediately recognized the name. After confiscating Stephen's phone, they discovered a 5-minute call with someone named Terry just hours before the murder is believed to have taken place. Looking further into his background, they also realized they've spoken to Terry before in connection to a sexual assault case, making him a potential suspect alongside Stephen. Within the hour, they arrive at Terry's house, but from the moment they approach him, something feels off. And unlike the others, they would have a much more difficult time getting Terry to talk.
Hi, how are you? No, I just need to talk to you about Michelle. Please. Please.
We know you didn't do it, man.
No, you didn't do it, honey.
We heard you're friends with her, that's all. And we just want to talk to her friends.
I put down a cross for her.
Did you?
I know.
That's all. We just want to talk to her friends, man. That's it.
No, listen. Terry, we just want to see... When was the last time we saw her, Terry?
Man, come on.
No, Terry, listen. You're not... No.
Yeah, because I done been through this with you before when they tried to get me...
Terry, let me talk. You don't have
to talk to you.
I'm not saying
and
that.
Michelle close to me. I don't want to talk.
Terry, just listen for a second. Terry, just listen for a second, man. Listen for a second.
I'm not listening.
Listen, all we know is that last time Michelle was saw was on the 17th. We're trying to track down her timeline, man. If you cared about her, wouldn't you want to help us?
You can't tell me who I cared about and all that. I'm not talking. The guy who did it, I don't even want to talk about Michelle, bro. Okay, I'm not trying to be mean, but I know how y'all do. Just like with the man, when I didn't do it. So no, I ain't shit to say, man. What go on?
When detectives question Terry about Michelle, it's clear he doesn't trust them and has no intention of cooperating. But then they changed their approach, mentioning something designed to make him think twice.
So did you know Stephen?
I don't know nobody.
Really? Why'd he call you then?
I don't know.
Really? Because you talked to him for like 5 minutes on the day he murdered her.
What? Hey, what?
You talked to him on the day he murdered Michelle for like 5 minutes.
I don't give a what you say. Okay? Okay? But I talked to him and all this. I don't care what you say, miss.
I don't really care what you say either. The phone records prove it.
To me? I don't care then.
So what did you talk to him about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even remember talking to him.
You don't remember talking to him?
Listen, miss. The dude didn't like Michelle. He always threatened her. Me and him got into it over her. Okay? Michelle was a close friend. If you go down there underneath the Backcut Bridge where she supposedly got killed or whatever, I put a cross down there for her.
I appreciate it. Honestly, you seem like the first one that we've talked to that's really cared about her. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't like Wolf. Okay?
Why not?
What you mean, why not? He always threatened her, man.
He was always threatening her?
Every time I seen them, they was fighting, fussing.
Were they in a relationship?
I don't. Listen, miss. Michelle stayed in his van. She used to sleep with this guy in his van. I used to get mad when she used to be with him. I'm not on no streets. I changed my life after that shit. And I talked to Wolf 5 minutes before she got killed. All that shit, that's bullshit. Okay? But for anything, if I can get my hands on him, I hurt him.
Finally, once they get Terry to talk, detectives uncover a direct connection between Stephen and the victim. Michelle had allegedly been staying in Stephen's van, and Terry makes it clear he didn't approve of the two being together. Now, detectives realize the man in front of them may be the key to incriminating Stephen once and for all.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
If you want to know the truth, Terry, you just helped us a lot in being able to make that happen.
What I'm still saying, B, the guy, she used to sleep around with this guy.
Okay.
Okay? This guy used needles. She told me that he tried to get her to shoot dope one time. Okay? Him and Michelle done had altercations. Okay? Yeah. When I found out Michelle was dead, dog, and you gonna ask my boss man, it killed me. You know what I'm saying?
I am sorry for your loss.
Okay, it's not my loss. It's just that she was a friend.
She was a friend.
And she stayed on the street, man. And I done been on the streets.
But for his wolf, if I had a way to put my hands on him, I would. Okay?
Listen,
And if you could look up the phone records of any law where I was talking to him, you can't see but me cussing him out.
Hey, Terry.
You.
Thank you, Terry. Seriously. Seriously, thank you.
Seriously. And I did that girl, man.
Thank you.
As Terry breaks down, detectives begin to believe he's telling the truth and that he is indeed one of Michelle's few genuine friends. After wrapping up the interview, they return to the station and relay their findings to Detective Pitcher, who, for the past 12 hours, has been sleeplessly studying Stephen's profile when he uncovers something interesting about Stephen's experiences in jail.
Talking about his time in prison, things came out that, number one, he has a hatred for women. Somehow I think it stems from his mom, but I still can't quite place it. He went into great detail with me about when his mom was sick, how she couldn't do anything. And very disturbing that a normal human being, normal person in a conversation isn't going into detail about these kind of things. That's a red flag. Obviously there's a lot of in prison. He goes, I figured out a way around it though. I'd offer to everybody, and that way they wouldn't want to, all of that is putting together a pretty good picture of who this is, and we have the right guy. At that point, you're kind of like, all right, this is making too much sense. And then talking about women in general would snap him a little bit, and that would cause me to have to bring him back down.
But even with this unusual finding, Pitcher is only beginning to understand the twisted mind he's dealing with. What he does know for certain is that this isn't Stephen's first time, and that by now he likely has a plan he believes will let him walk free. And if Pitcher wants to get anything from him, he needs to build a bond, gain Stephen's trust, enough to make him confess. So that afternoon, Pitcher decides to change his approach. He asks Steve to step outside, offering him a cigarette, a small gesture, but one that would have monumental effects on the investigation. Because when the two step outside, Stephen begins to break.
We're gonna step outside and have a cigarette.
I'm being charged with homicide, man.
I know you are, and I know that seems scary as hell.
I've been through it before as a child, but I remember it well.
Things are different in some instances between what happened when you're 15 and what happened now.
Somebody died at my hands. This difference is that somebody died, but it wasn't at my hands. Oh, man.
Steve, you made a mistake. I know.
I didn't do this.
Steve, I know you...
Oh, God, okay, listen.
You made a mistake.
I didn't kill her. Her boyfriend killed her.
What happened?
They fought. I didn't... Nobody... They were having though in the back of my bed.
Okay.
And they fought. And I just kept driving, said, come on, guys, calm down, quiet down. I don't know their names.
How did you have them back?
I picked them up.
Where'd you pick them up?
Walmart. They wanted to come to the Keys.
Alright.
Oh, Matt.
Steve, come on, man.
I don't know what to do here.
We gotta keep going. We're gonna get this.
I did not do this, but I'm guilty of covering it up. I helped him get rid of her.
Alright, but we can work through this, okay? This isn't the end of the world,
He walked away and he was gone, and I thought, Jesus, what am I gonna do?
Despite being prepared for something new, Detective Pitcher is clearly taken aback by this version of events. Stephen insists he didn't kill Michelle, but admits to helping cover it up, claiming the real killer was her ex-boyfriend. At first glance, the story feels completely fabricated, a last-ditch attempt to deflect blame. But then, something clicks. Pitcher recalls combing through Michelle's social media and uncovering a troubling detail. An ex-boyfriend, persistent, unwanted, and openly harassing her online. Still unconvinced and questioning why Stephen is only bringing this up now, the two return to the interrogation room as Pitcher prepares to press him further.
Can you do your best to describe him? You said he had...
He's got what?
Go ahead, head to toe, everything you can tell me.
Long khaki shorts. I don't know what kind of tennis shoes. No socks.
Okay.
Flowery type of shirt. I don't know what pants he was wearing really. And scruffy. His hair doesn't touch his shoulders, but it's close. It's straight as an arrow.
Gotcha.
Okay, not feather waving it, not one.
How old was he?
He's younger. I think he's younger than she is.
20s?
Yeah. Skinny as a rail, skinny, tall and skinny. Black as hair, the blackest you can get, like black as that camera right there.
Where were you exactly when you picked them up?
I was at my van.
Right.
I was in my van.
But where? What location?
They walked parked by the liquor store. They walked up to the front of my van by that grassy area.
Okay.
They were walking and said, "Hey, you guys, this dude for a ride."
So you let him in. They get in the car. He's up front.
I'm not even out of the parking lot yet, bro. Can I have one of them cigarettes? Yeah, you got a pack, bro. I was at the, you know where the hurricane washed out the road, where it's a long strip after you get out of Isla
Right by Ann Beach.
Long key up in there.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. But the long stretch that got washed out the road, and at nighttime the lights are all red.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's where he came back up in my front seat and said, "Bro, she's dead."
All the way.
He didn't say I killed her, he just said she's dead.
Okay.
What? Bro, she's dead. My brain was thinking, if she's really dead, I'm really call the police.
Yep.
But he's right there next to me. Call the police. And I never picked up the phone. And I pulled down in there. I can't go very far.
And you said it was your idea for vodka cut?
I was thinking, I gotta get rid of this. I gotta get rid of both of them, but I gotta get her out of here now. And he jumped out. He pulled the door open. He pulled her out. I heard her. Actually,
was she dead?
Oh, she hit the ground, I think. Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, Jesus, that's not good. And I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, man. And I could have called the police. I could have backed over, but I couldn't get out, man. Actually, I couldn't have backed over if I'd have tried it. Took me out. I'd have run his ass over and called you right then. I should have called you as soon as he got out of the van.
Give me 1 second, okay.
Despite Stephen's emotional retelling, his description of the killer doesn't match the ex-boyfriend. The man detectives had identified was older with short gray hair and a heavy build, but Stephen describes someone completely different, younger, slim with pin-straight black hair. And that's not all. Something major has just taken place outside the interrogation room. The full forensic examination of the van is complete, and the findings are even more disturbing than expected.
Now we have the search warrant to the van. They start going in it, and immediately there are a lot of toys, a lot of homemade toys. We knew sheets were missing, that kind of thing. Like, we were missing a lot of evidence. There was also, we had to start cutting out he had a homemade bed in there too, so we had to cut out the mattress of that, the floor. There was blood, a little, not a ton, but a little bit of blood on some of that, that's big evidence. We need it.
Alongside what Pitcher has just revealed, investigators uncover even more disturbing evidence. Strands of blonde hair matching the victims, women's underwear, and a child's swimsuit. And more concerning still, the only DNA found belongs to Stephen and the victim. This is far more incriminating and far more convincing than anything Stephen has told them. So Pitcher prepares to confront him with the evidence, and with nowhere left to shift the blame, his reaction would say it all.
Don't talk about it, right? Yeah. I'm just gonna be flat out honest and be blunt. You messed up. This is inside your van. That's our victim's hair, Steve. Steve.
No.
This is the victim's underwear.
No, it's not.
What is it? And Steve, you missed some blood. You missed under...
I didn't do that.
You missed cleaning up the blood on the cushion under the sheet. Steve, I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you.
I hear you. I hear you saying.
And this is your chance to be honest.
I've been honest with you. I have been honest with you. That's not the victim's hair. That's not her panties.
Well, tell me about those panties.
God, oh, Jesus, you're going to tell them they lie. If I tell you who they are, you're going to tell them, and then they're going to know that I have. Oh,
Steve, right now you're looking at murder. You get
okay, right. There's Susan. You have Susan's door.
Susan who?
That's Jerry's wife.
Why do you have Jerry's
wife? Sometimes. I with them once, and they were dirty, and I put them in there.
Okay. And the hair?
I don't have no idea.
And the blood under there?
I don't know what to do. I don't know anything about it. There's no blood in there that I'm worried about.
I'm telling you there's blood. I mean, this is overtime. Okay?
So now I'm not primary, I'm a suspect. I said, I don't know. Okay.
Steve, I'm gonna put this as bluntly as I can.
Test it all.
I'm gonna put this very harshly. You murdered her.
I did not. I did not.
This shift in the detective's demeanor clearly catches Stephen off guard. Up until now, he believed Pitcher was someone he could trust. More than that, Pitcher believes the bond between them has gone beyond a typical detective-suspect relationship.
One of the disturbing parts of the interview, which this just made me mind of, is I put my hand on his shoulder at one point. Like, one of the phrases I used with him a lot that, once we had that real comfortable level was, this isn't an if type situation. This is, I need your why. What happened? Like, you're obviously a good person. Why did this happen? And so at one point, he was getting worked up, sad-wise, that he knew he was in trouble. And I put my hand on his shoulder, and he goes, yeah, I don't let people put their hand on my shoulder because of prison. And so I immediately took it off and said, I'm sorry. He says, no, I like it when you do it. And I was like, that was one of the key moments. I was like, okay, well, he's now looking at us being in a relationship. He has feelings for me in terms of that. He was putting me, in his mind, in an awkward position to have to testify. Like, I don't know if part of him thought that I had feelings for him and that he was putting me in an awkward position, making me testify against him. I've never even come close to having anything like that happen before.
As Pitcher explains, this unusually strong bond is both beneficial and detrimental to the investigation. Although Stephen appears to want to be honest, he seems afraid of hurting Pitcher's feelings. But unbeknownst to Stephen, that bond is entirely one-sided, because Pitcher is about to confront him with even more evidence he failed to cover up.
Can you explain the blood on the cushion under the sheet?
No. My leg, I guess, but
that's not going to cut it.
I know. So, I'm going to go to jail for homicide?
I will check with the state attorney, but as of right now, I'm afraid that's the most probable.
Oh, geez, guys, I'm not the guy.
What?
Okay.
Can I, let's backtrack.
I understand this does not look good.
Because you were at the crime scene. We have you at the crime scene because you wrecked. Yeah. And then you didn't report the wreck, but there was minor damage. I get that. I'm visually there. Then we have you come into the library using a dumpster where there's blood in the dumpster. And you told me you put trash there.
Yeah.
And then we search your van, which you say nobody has been in that van besides Tracy and Charlie.
I think
and that was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And the hair doesn't match that person.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Apparently, all this secrets of investments because I came back down here. Sorry, I swear. And the worst part about it is that you're convinced that it's me. What is that?
More panties.
In my van? Let me see that again.
Her bikini bottoms.
Those are Susan's too.
I wouldn't worry at all about Susan, Steve.
That's where I am, but
my guess is you'll probably never see her again.
To Stephen's surprise, on the night he was found, officers recovered a bloody shirt that had been disposed of nearby. And despite it all, Stephen would continue to deny that he had killed Michelle. At this point, it doesn't matter. They don't need a confession, because the final and most disturbing piece of the puzzle has just come to light.
When they were going through the van, there were some of the toys were probably 8 inches to 12 inches in diameter. So it was, again, very, very horrific. And I think they ended up finding her DNA on a couple of those, and that's probably what helped to cause her to bleed out. The strangulation was probably most likely not what killed her, but that he would strangle her, let her in and out of contact, just torture is the best way to describe it. Just awful.
Based on the crime scene and the horrific autopsy findings, in 2023, Stephen Matthew Wolfe was convicted of first-degree murder, 2 counts of battery, and tampering with evidence. And in the end, he was given the only fitting sentence for his crimes.
That's kind of, I think, what did him in. Like, that's that whole situation where he knows, like, even in the interview, he brings up the death penalty and that I'm going to get the death penalty for this. Yeah, so maybe the first time in Florida, if not, it's only been one or two times where every member of the jury believed he should get the death penalty. Even though, yes, obviously he's a very horrible person, it's also always weird when you know that it was your testimony and your doing that is going to end this man's life. So it's a mixed bag in that sense. Like, even the things like the touch on the shoulder, like, as dumb as it sounds, that to him, that's, oh, this guy cares about me, you know? He really does like me, as crazy as that is.
You mentioned that there could be more victims tied to this guy. Do you personally think that he could be like a serial killer with more unsolved murders connected to him?
So I 100% think I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that there are bodies out there attached to him that either haven't been found or gone. He was a homeless guy who lived in this van, and you have long periods where you can't even say where he's at. He was skeptical on telling us other locations, kind of thing. Everything just pointed. I mean, we even had, when they were going through the van, I believe there was blood in there that they have yet to identify, for one thing. That didn't come back to either one of them. There was, unfortunately, underwear in the van that appeared to be used. There was other women's underwear in there. Now, granted, he had stolen underwear that we found out from somebody else, but there's all these, little details that too many to overlook.
As Pitcher finishes recounting one of the most disturbing cases of his career, 6 years after Michelle's murder, he is now retired. But the weight of what he uncovered leaves behind questions that were never fully answered.
In terms of this type of crime and the brutality, this one head above all the rest. And I've definitely had some interesting ones in my career. I'm in the process of writing a book. Actually, I did undercover work that I can say legitimately nobody else has done. First year, I spent 2 years with the mob and then was asked to infiltrate a domestic terror group. Had everything from being interrogated for 8 hours to shooting with a psychopath who I was positive was going to kill me one day and who also happened to be my best friend, and hated police more than anybody. But I did prevent the bombing, credited with saving over 100,000 lives.
Out of all the complex investigations Detective Pitcher worked on, Stephen's case continues to linger. And as of late, April 2026, Stephen remains on Florida's death row, refusing to tell Pitcher whether there are any other victims. And with an execution warrant potentially right around the corner, that answer may die with him.